Greetings, everyone. This is week 3 of the Dead Letter Office Kickstarter vlog, and welcome, everyone. I'm excited to go over a few things this week. We are chugging right along. I'm really can't wait to start cranking these out, getting the printing started, and doing the antiquing. So that's super exciting. This week I shared wax seals and a little bit on wax seals. What you've been seeing in a lot of the mock-ups, I pre-do the seals and then I stick them on just so that they're perfect every time, since I'm dealing with the photography versions. The wax seals come in all shapes and forms because when I produce them, I don't do them that way. I produce them the original way. I pour the wax onto the document and seal it onto the document. This is another reason why I try to do everything in batches of 100, because I've found that 100 is a reasonable number for me to do. I can probably do 200 to 300 items before I go nuts. Now, please feel free to comment on this in the comments and tell me what you want. I have debated on using a more traditional wax. The wax that I use is a modern wax. It's not a traditional shellac wax. I've even thought of making my own. The problem with a traditional wax, and the only reason I've held back on using it, first is sourcing. I can get it in India. I can get it in France and Britain. India is cheaper, harder. The shipping's kind of crazy. Here's the problem with that wax. It is very traditional. It breaks when you open it, but it tends to crack when you mail, because our mail system is so totally different than it was before. You know, we have mailing machines and our mail is handled pretty rough through these machines, and the wax, traditional wax, tends to break in the mailing process, which is why I've opted for modern wax. If I have time, I may try to develop my own wax that breaks when you force it, but will hold up to mailing. This is a long shot, though. I've never done it before. I've looked at recipes. I've looked around Reddit and other places to try to see what people have made. And I know that if you mix a little turpentine in with the wax, it increases the elasticity of the wax. Traditional wax is essentially a beeswax with a color and a shellac or a resin of some sort, but usually a shellac, which you can buy those very easily and combine those together. So I may play around with just a little bit and see how that turns out. It'd be really cool to make my own, because you know me, I'm into making my own stuff. I like making everything I can on my own. If I could make the paper on my own, I would. There are a couple seal stamps that I've sourced that I did not make myself, and I might be replacing those, because again, I like to make my own stuff. I don't want you to see something you can buy on Amazon. So expect some of those wax seal designs to change. They're similar to what I wanted, and I just haven't had time to make them. I want everything to be 100% original. So that covers wax seals. Next up, I shared a couple documents. These are moving documents or traveling documents. These documents come in 3 parts. The one I only shared 2 parts because the other one looks incredibly similar. And those are departure and arrival documents. They're based off, the manifest is based off the Titanic, a Titanic manifest that I've seen. And then the inspection card also too is based off a document that I had seen before. It's more for immigration traveling between 2 countries, the inspection card. I also didn't put any of the rubber stamps on there. I counted the number of rubber stamps. I think I said 6 in my post. It's 10 rubber stamps just for those documents. But then some of those rubber stamps are reused in other places. But let's talk about characters. And I think this goes back to wax seals, because this is one of the wax seals I actually want to redo. I sourced it. It looks cool, but the more I look at it, the more I think it's got the right intention, but it's visually too modern when I compare it to traditional wax seals. So I'm going to make it something else, but this is for Madam Grimm. And if you bought the Queensgate Papers from the last Kickstarter or the book, you will know about Madam Grimm. Her first appearance meeting Doc is in 1851. The very first paper, the Queensgate Observer, that anyone has read is from 1851. It picks up again 2 years later in 1853, and that's when the real story starts for the Queensgate Papers. This story that you're participating in over the course of a year happens in 1852 between that first observer and the story in 1853. So Doc has already met Madam Grimm, and that first paper is about their meeting. You will learn through this who she is. She's a really interesting character. She's a blind sort of soothsayer. I don't even think I would call her a witch per se. To me, she's more akin to something from the ancient world, which is why I guess I kind of choose the term soothsayer. She's really fascinating, and I love her character a lot. She's a kind of tiny woman, probably from the ancient Near East. I don't really say where she's from. She speaks in a language that's not invented. It is an ancient language. So Madam Grimm is one of the characters. Here you go. Here she is in the newspaper, the 1851 newspaper. And she's a central part of this story and a central part in Doc's life in general, because she appears multiple times in the Queensgate Observer. Madam Grimm, as far as I know, Madam Grimm is the only character from the Queensgate Papers, other than Doc, is the only recurring character. But she plays a major role, and her letters are awesome and creepy. And I look forward to you meeting her. But I wanted to bring her up because she's really cool, and I'm redoing her wax seal. And I'm just really excited that she's part of this story. When I thought of it, as I was creating the story, when I thought of it, I thought, she's the perfect person to be the catalyst for a certain part of this story. So that's Madam Grimm, and I can't wait for you guys to see her again. She's going to be awesome. So anyway, that's about what I have. I hope everyone is enjoying the stuff that I'm sharing. It's really hard choosing what to show and what not to show, because I don't want to ruin things, but I want you to be inspired by what you're seeing. And so that is that. I will speak to you next Tuesday when we're at the end of the campaign. I hope you're staying cool, number one, and safe. And I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Thank you so much for your time, and take care. We'll talk to you soon.